What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Talk Manga Daily. This is Mel. Today, we're talking about Gachiakuta Volume 6. You can call this a discussion or you can call it a walkthrough. So, there are just some massive reveals that change everything that we thought we knew about the series. We've got mysterious angels who can cross to the sphere, across the sphere's barrier, a specialized child team within the cleaners with their own operations, and the Raiders just pulled off their biggest move yet. So let's get started and let's break this down. So, the angel mystery. First, let's talk about those so called angels because the reveal is huge for the series in terms of mythology. Though Amu's flashback, or through Amu's flashback, we learn that two mysterious figures actually cross from the ground to the sphere, something we thought was impossible. If you watched our video covering Volume 5, then you know the two angels entered the tower where Amu was living with the men who purchased her, who convinced her that, that the relationship they had was love. And because they entered the tower, the male, of course, the guy who purchased Amu or whatever the relationship is, uh, he think that he had with Amu, went to, of course, defend the honor of the tower, which is their home, and the male angel knocked him out. And when he knocked him out, he took the boots off of his feet. And these boots, of course, is part of the Watchmen series because they have the Watchmen logo on it. And he handed the boots to Amu. So Amu did confirm that this happened, and one angel came back down about a month ago. Engine immediately connects the timeline to when Rudo arrived on the ground. That's not a coincidence, people. This suggests that whoever this returning angel is could possibly be directly connected to the events that got Rudo banished. Again, we're not for sure, but it was around the same time Rudo got kicked off of the sphere as his punishment. But the real question is, where's the missing partner? Are they still operating on the sphere? Are they gathering intelligence, or did something happen to them up there? And notice how these figures on the manga panel had their faces covered, completely covered. At that, they wore cloaks. They're clearly hiding their identities for a reason. The way they ascend with what looks like angel wings appendages suggests that it's either probably a vital instrument ability or the way they had the cloaks designed or something, kind of like on the ground technology. I think it'll be helpful when we see it animated. Now, let's talk about the Watchmen series Revelation because this completely changes how we understand the power system or understand the Watchmen series. So, as you know, Amu's boots now is part of the Watchmen series. It's another piece of an item that got revealed. But Amu, when she's talking to Rudo about Rudo having the gloves and her having the boots, she kind of drops a bombshell. She says these things that you and Amu have, they must work best with people who are missing pieces. When there's a big hole, you can't fill it up unless you put something in it. This isn't about power scaling at this point. It's about psychological compatibility. The Watchmen series items specifically seek out trauma victims, or we see trauma victims are the ones who end up with these items. So let's think about it for a moment. When we look at Amu's past and Rudo's past, Amu was abandoned, sold, and abused. She gets boots that help her feel human again. Rudo was betrayed, isolated, and left behind by his parents, so he gets gloves that restore his sense of purpose. The Raiders boss, he has the Watchmen series jacket, but we still don't know, his level of trauma. We don't know what his past is. So this creates a completely different like dynamic that than typical power systems. And we should also call out that Recto again had the journal with the Watchmen series logo on it. But what does this mean? Does this mean that these items don't choose the strongest? They end up in the hands of the individuals that are the most damaged. They don't just give power, but they provide. The Watchmen series provide emotional healing at the same time. And this raises the question, or raises plenty of questions. For example, are there more Watchmen items out there? What trauma is the Raiders boss hiding? Could this explain why some people become givers while others can't? There will be something special around the Watchmen series, and we'll just have to stay tuned, reading the manga to find out. Volume 6, we also get more of an introduction into the Cleaner HQ child team. We meet Guita, Dear Santa, and their supervisor. Bro Santa. These are the youngest cleaner who handle specialized smaller missions under proper adult supervision, which is Bro Santa. So this team, we've seen the introduction of them in an earlier volume, and with the anime already out, we've already saw the introduction of Dear Santa as well. And if you don't remember who Dear Santa is, he's the one who walked up on Rudo when Rudo got introduced to dessert. He's the one who walked up and wanted some dessert as well. Rudo handed him the basically the lollipop, but he is the one that has the pacifier in his mouth. After the Penta No Man's Land mission, Engine took his team out for dinner. What we learn in the manga is when they have big missions, they tend to go out and have a dinner after these missions. The child team, of course, was invited to attend this dinner with them. And what makes this introduction fascinating is the timing and their unique dynamic. This was supposed to be a casual dinner meeting between cleaner team, but the raiders turned out to be in the same restaurant, and it was basically an ambush. The child team wasn't there for combat. They were there for what should have been a safe social gathering. And if I didn't mention this earlier, volume 6 starts the trash storm arc. But let's get back to the dinner before the raiders interrupted, because Gita had a lot of questions for Rudo. Her curiosity was intense about the spear. So she keeps pushing Rudo for information about like what's up there, what kind of stuff is on the sphere. So this isn't just a casual interest. She's genuinely invested in learning more about sphere life. The fact that the child is written in all caps in the manga suggests that it's an official designation, probably standing for something specific. But since there are children on this team, then that could just be simple what it is. Can be, it's not necessarily any mystery behind the word being written in capital letters. It just could simply mean exactly what it is, child team. But yes, she was questioning Rudo. She was fascinated about the sphere. Also, Bro Santa mentioned that there are other members of this team as well, indicating that this is a structured program for younger givers who need different operational parameters than the main teams or the what we would call the probably teenage or adult teams. One of the things that should be noted is the mutual respect between the teenage and adult cleaners and the respect that they give to the child team. No one treats them as incapable. It shows the cleaners organization is adapt and they're structured to accommodate different types of givers and their needs. So it was nice seeing that. Now, let's talk about the raiders ambushing this dinner, because the boss raider was already there, which means he knew that the cleaners would be there. But the manhole giver raider was also there as well. But what does this mean? This means that this restaurant ambush was very sophisticated and it was masterfully executed. Remember, this was supposed to be a casual dinner between cleaner teams, a social gathering, but the raiders turned it into an intelligence operation and ambush. The boss of the raiders and the manhole giver posed as restaurant patrons, and they were just basically dressed a little different. While Rudo was having a conversation with the cleaners team, trying to make sure that they were on point. Should we kind of not be this casual? Believe it or not, the cleaners are always on point. The fact that Rudo was saying that shouldn't we be a little bit more careful? Shouldn't we be watching our backs at this time? Is this dinner okay to even have, knowing that what's going on? Again, Engine, Zanka, and Rio, along with the cleaners team, child cleaners team, they are always on point. They've been cleaners long enough, so they are never letting their guard down. And that's why when it's revealed that it's the boss of the Raiders and the manhole giver, and they grab Rudo to pull Rudo through a manhole, all the cleaners were ready. And everyone ended up going through the manhole. Every one of the cleaners did. The only ones who didn't were the support staffs. So the boss, of course, understanding that he knew that Rudo was probably not going to be the only one. He suspected that all the other cleaners would be enough on point. He knew that they did not let their guard down. He was anticipating that, and he anticipated that all the other cleaners that were there would end up, immediately jumping into action, and they did. Like they didn't blink. The moment Rudo was grabbed, they were already up. And if you saw this on the manga panel, you're like, oh man, these guys are amazing. They never let their guard down one time. I suspect at this point, the other question is, where did they end up? Well, you'll have to stay tuned for volume 7 or grab volume 7 and read it, or just wait for that piece to be animated to understand where they ended up. Volume 6 has set us up with a new arc, and this arc is going to be amazing. We've already read volume 7. In fact, we've read all the chapters that's been published, even on K Manga. This new arc is going to reveal a lot of secrets and a lot of things that the Raiders is planning as well. What is the Raiders' end game at this point? Now that we're at the end of this video, what is the Raiders' end game? Where's the missing angel? How many more Watchmen series items are out there? Let's talk in the comments. If you are enjoying these walkthroughs or deep dives, whatever you want to call them, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any other videos that's forthcoming. As always, keep reading, keep thinking, and talk manga daily with us. Thanks for watching.